Hello, everyone. Benjamin Lindsay here, managing editor at Backstage. You are joining me as part of our Backstage live programming via the Slate, so thank you very much for joining me today. As you all know by now, the Slate is our ongoing video series you can watch from anywhere to learn all you need to know about the craft and business of acting from casting directors, industry insiders, and of course, actors through Instagram takeovers, Q&As, live stream seminars, and interactive group classes. So for more on the Slate and the latest schedule of upcoming events, visit backstage.com/magazine. If you're joining us today, then you know that we are in for a treat. The Mayans MC Angel himself is joining us today. For 3 seasons strong, Clayton Cardenas has been stunning us on this acclaimed Sons of Anarchy spin-off series set on the Cali-Mexico border. Outside of the series, he is a painter and spoken word poet with additional television credits, including American Crime, New York Undercover, Snowfall, and S.W.A.T. So I'm very excited to be talking about it all today. He is joining us from the Mayans MC official Instagram account. So let me see if he is in here and we can get started. I see Mayans right here. So 1 second. Hello there.
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you okay. It looks like you're a little frozen, but
Okay.
no, we caught up. We're good. How are you today? My name's Ben.
So well, Ben. Nice to meet you, man.
It's
Heard a lot
nice
of
to
good
meet you.
things.
Thank you for making the time to chat with us today. I'm a big fan of the show.
Oh, right on.
And yeah, this is a great treat to have you sit with us.
Thank you.
But first off, how are you holding up? Where in the world are you calling from?
I'm actually at my in my home in LA. So it's nice to have some time off from filming finally. But everything's going really well, man. Just the time just to recalibrate. You know, it takes a while sometimes to get out of certain characters, and especially with this one, as time consuming as it was, and you know, it's a very physical show. So it's nice to just have a break and just to relax and get ready for the next thing. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. How long has that break been? Because I know you guys were filming
We
during the pandemic and everything. So
Thankfully, you know, we got through it all. Yeah, we went straight through the pandemic. You know, Disney and FX had it all set up, made us all feel safe. So we got through it without getting shut down. So it was really well. I just wrapped, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, the 16th, if that sounds correct. So yeah, so from then on, I've just been just relaxing, man, just resting.
yeah, you take care of yourself, especially as you say with a character like this and the physicality required. How do you kind of, now that you've had a couple weeks off, is there kind of a decompression period, a process that you have for wiping a character clean, especially when he's a bit heavier like this?
Yeah, you know, I usually have my little routine while I'm filming, and for me, it has to do with a certain type of schedule as far as working out, and then I listen to certain music, and then you know, there's certain eating habits that I stick to. So, you know, once I'm able to wash that character away, I get to eat whatever I want. You know, I stop working out. You know,
Yeah.
I listen to a whole array of different types of music. Vacationing is usually, I haven't had the opportunity yet. I'm planning on within the next couple of weeks to get out of town for a little bit. And I think just stepping away from my normal routine and quite honestly seeing the same people that I was seeing, if I can step away from seeing those same people, it helps me. It's a way to decompress for me.
Yeah.
And normally during filming, I usually don't speak to my family. As dark and morbid as that may sound, it's helpful to me. So I know that once I'm done filming, I get back into those you know, circles and those text chains with my family members.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine at the height of filming, it's kind of keep the blinders on, stay in this world, do what you
For
got to do
me, yeah,
over
you
the
know, not
quarantine.
everybody operates like that,
Yeah.
and I have many of my co-stars don't, but I just, you know, through my early years, I had to find what worked best for me. And
Yeah.
me with the blinders on, like you said, and staying completely focused and fully immersing myself in it. Like for me, I just have to drown myself in the work. Um, because early on, I tried other ways. I
Mhm.
tried to communicate, like I was saying, with family and, you know, with friends. And I just couldn't compartmentalize it. Like it took me out of the work. So
Mhm.
I had to find what worked for me, and that's what works for me for right now.
Fair enough. Well, you have been with this character for a few years now, and you've described him. I got the quote here:
Sure,
ambitious, loyal, and complicated. I feel like that
very
really
much.
covers the gamut there.
Very much so, man.
What's been the most gratifying part of playing Angel for these last few years?
Honestly, the writers have let me organically find him, and I think that started happening around maybe end of season one, season two, and then I saw the writing being curtailed to what I was what my envision of the character was on screen. So that's been
Hmm.
kind of a cool feeling to see this co-creation happening. There wasn't a strict um, archetype for this character to say,
Hmm.
right? It was kind of fluid in the beginning. And so for me, man, just playing with all the flavors of them. A lot of it is myself. A lot of Angel is Clayton. Just certain parts of him is very heightened, I guess you would say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so so honestly, like bringing for me this year is bringing he's for me, I find him as a hybrid of this like highly emotional, strong character with a dry sense of humor. That's been a fun like triple layer for me to dip in and out of. So that's cool. You don't really find full-fledged character. I that said that wrong. You do find that, but on this show you don't really find those type of characters. So I'm proud to be representing that for
Yeah,
Mayans.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And it sounds like I mean, you obviously have plenty to work with as an
sure.
actor, but
Yeah,
also you were given the freedom from the beginning to kind of find your own way into the character. It wasn't kind of set in stone. Was that a
yeah.
unique process for you to be given that freedom as a performer?
It was unique. I wasn't expecting it. I thought coming into it, okay, this writer has a specific view of where this character is going, where he's headed. And, normally on prior projects early on, I had that blueprint kind of laid out for me. Not with this. This was like, all right, this is we have an idea of what Angel is, but
Hmm.
go and show us. And I get excited off that. I take that as a challenge, okay, let me find the most organic route for this guy to connect with an audience and connect with his co-stars also.
Hmm.
So that's been so fun, man. You really don't find that freedom a lot, right? But with this writer, we have, our creator, Elgin James. He's just allowed me the freedom to really go show him and prove to him that what I'm doing is correct, or what I feel is correct.
Yeah. And in
You
what
know?
ways with this season specifically, do you feel like you've kind of explored him in new ways? What's going on new with Angel that really excites you?
Well, yeah, I mean, besides, I think there's a few things. But let me go back to the actual just the verbiage that Angel's using this year.
Sure.
Compared to the first two seasons, I felt that I was trying to force dialogue to sound organic.
Mm.
This year with the writing, I feel like I don't have to do that anymore. It just flows off the tongue now. And so with that, for me, I would spend these first two seasons, I would spend so much time with saying like, okay, how can I make this sound real? How can I make this sound like I would say it? And that was a challenge, to be honest with you. Um, but this year it just rolls off my tongue. So with that, not me having to focus so much on that time of trying to make the word sound organic, I can play with other layers now. Now I can there's so many different things, but I can take my time with dialogue. I can lay it differently. I can emphasize different words and different meanings to get, make you question things. So there's so much freedom in it, so much fluidity in it. And again, that's just based off great writing, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, the performances across the board, the ensemble here is just
across
so
the
stellar.
board. Yeah,
Season three in particular, I mean, your relationship with Easy has always been at the fore of the show, but I feel like season three gives you a lot more to play with. How do you
for
go
sure.
about building that relationship with JD Pardo, in
You know,
particular, kind of finding that chemistry, that creative
yeah.
rhythm? What was
You,
that like?
with JD and myself, I feel like that's always been there right from the get-go. And I think originally when we first met, we were at Wendy O'Brien's casting, and I think there was a mutual agreement. Like, it wasn't said though, but it was like, we need to make this work. Like, if we want this, if we want Mayans to work, this relationship has to work.
Yeah.
Um, but through time, I think we found that we were a lot similar than not. And with that. beginning of that relationship, it just it made everything so natural. A lot of like a lot of the looks and stuff that we share on camera, it's all organic. It's not like, all right, let's look at each other at this point. Nah, man, it's all we. I can just feel it from him. He could feel it from me, and I think the audience and fans are able to pick up on that because
Yeah.
nothing is forced with him. Everything is very natural, and he was very helpful in the beginning of my of Mayans for me. I was still somewhat on a greener side, I guess you could say, and he was very helpful with technical stuff,
Mhm.
camera stuff, things of that nature. So, our relationship just continues to build. And I know that I personally have not had that type of camaraderie with any other actor until I met JD Pardo.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
No,
Great
he's
to
rad, man. He's rad. Yeah, he's pretty and all that, but he's pretty rad too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, as you say in the beginning of this series, you were a little greener than JD.
Sure.
I had read that cut to 2010 or so is when you first kind of got the inkling to be an actor. You were
Yeah.
watching Southland and saw yourself on screen in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Can you recall what it was that made you first want to get into acting?
It actually wasn't Southland. It was a film called A Better Life with
Oh
Damian
yeah, so
Bashir,
good.
and Richard Cabral, who's one of
Hmm.
my co-stars, plays Coco. And I remember seeing Richard, and he was this gang member and from LA, and I remember seeing him on screen, and right away, me being from where I'm from, I'm able to notice like if that's an actor, he's trying to portray a bad guy,
Hmm.
or if that's the real thing. And right when I saw Richard, I was like, oh, holy shit! Like wow, that's the real thing, and he's acting. Wow, that blew my mind. I was
Hmm.
like, wow, that's a possibility. I can do something like that, and that sparked it, man. That sparked it, and I ended up going to an acting studio, Anthony Gilardi acting studio. And I'll tell you what, man, one of the craziest things. About a week later, Richard Cabral walks into this acting studio,
No
and right
way.
then I was like, oh yeah, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I knew right then. I was like, oh, I'm in the right place.
Hmm.
I'm on the right path. And I remember I was too nervous to even tell Richard the story. And so I got up the courage about like 2 weeks later, and I told him like he was my inspiration and whatnot. And he's like, all right, I want you to hang out with me every day now. And I was like, oh, Brad, wow, wow. And that's it, man. That started it. From there, again with Richard Cabral, I booked American Crime. I think that was in 2013.
Hmm.
And that's what started it all. That started it all for me. And that was, we've just been flowing ever since.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, you
It's
mentioned.
crazy, man.
And you mentioned American Crime. Also a
Yeah,
big fan of that series. Um, Obviously, with any acting career, though, there are kind of the ebbs and flows, the
right.
finding your footing, the rejection along the way. What was it that guided you through the early days of maybe not booking work or trying to find a solid ground in a career that can be pretty fickle?
For sure. Very fickle. Just self-belief and keeping myself in a circle that told me I could do it and I should do it.
Hmm.
I think early, newer actors and people early on in their career, they hear no a lot and they let that get to them, right? That affects your psyche, that does something to you. And add on to this, if you're around, if your friends are newer actors too, they're hearing the no's too, right?
Hmm.
And so now you just have this group of people telling each other about the no's and telling each, it's like this sick cycle of I didn't get it because of this, or I didn't get it because of this, and you continuously hear that verbiage, and I feel like that does something to you. And
Hmm.
I just felt early on, I was like, I can't be around people who constantly give excuses why they're not booking stuff or why so and so got it. So I made it a point to literally force myself around people that were working.
Hmm.
You know, that dialogue from working actor to non-working actor, completely different, night
Yeah.
and day. And that does something to you, right? For me, it did something to me. And I noticed I felt different around these people. Even though I wasn't working yet, I could just feel a different energy around working actors.
Hmm.
And I honestly feel like that served me. I honestly felt like the positive reinforcement and the positive information that they were spewing was much more helpful to my career than what the other group was spewing.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
makes
and I
sense?
imagine it makes it feel like it's a little more in reach to surround yourself with people who are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's just how life should be, right? You surround yourself with people who say yes rather than say no. But
Hmm.
yeah, completely agree with what you just said.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as a final question for you, then, thanks again for joining us for
For
a
sure, man.
here. Season 3, you're in the midst of it right now. You just wrapped a couple weeks ago. What can you tease for us? What are you most excited for audience to get their eyes on this year?
Well, to be honest with you, this is the by far the best season to date. A lot of this season is about answering unanswered questions, but my favorite part about mine season 3 is we're finally getting to know more about the club members beyond the cut. We're
Hmm.
finally getting to hear the backstories of a lot of your favorite characters. So that's been a joy for me. It's been a joy for me to see my co-stars really show their chops, quote unquote, because I know they've all been digging for 2 years and grinding and wanting to show the world what they can do. And finally, they're getting the opportunity to prove that to everyone. And I'm
Yes.
so
Yeah.
proud of them. And, and we've kind of, Mayans MC, the cast and crew, we've kind of taken on this whole mantra of, it's us against the world, as positive or negative that may sound. I think we all have a little chip on our shoulder and we want to show the world what we can do.
Hmm. And you're doing it this year for sure.
Yeah, man. Thank
I'm
you very
excited to see
much.
where it goes. Excited to see it. Well,
Right on.
Clayton, congrats on the new season, and excited to see what you do next. Stay
Right on.
well, and we'll be in touch.
Same. Thank you, sir. Have a good
All right.
one.
Bye bye.
All right. All right.